All right, so you see the title of my video, When Straight Women Do Gay Things. I was pondering, what have I actually observed about straight women, also known as heterosexual women, doing that I perceive as being gay. Now, this can be a little bit tricky, this title, or rather even the topic of addressing when heterosexual women do gay things, because what I'm about to talk about is not necessarily from my perspective. I provide my lesbian's perspective here on my YouTube channel, but I'm going to go with an angle of what I've heard from other people. And some of these other people are actual heterosexual women and heterosexual men. But it just wouldn't be right if I don't include my lesbian perspective as well. So I'll do that also. And let's get started. Or shall I say, let me get started. I am Giselle Wallace. I'm a certified gay life coach. I'm also an author. I provide my lesbian perspective here on my YouTube channel. If that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have titled this video, When Straight Women Do Gay Things. And I'm going to let you know what I've heard from other people who have observed heterosexual women doing so-called gay things. So let's first break down what is gay. All right. So I am referring to sexual orientation, and the people who have made observations are referring to sexual orientation as well. And they're referring to homosexuality, being a homosexual. And specifically for this video topic, being a female homosexual. So heterosexual women are being reported and or observed as participating in gay behavior or female homosexual behavior. And this perspective is coming from heterosexual women and heterosexual men. And some of them have given some examples of what they think is gay things that heterosexual women are doing. And if you want to comment below, if you agree or disagree, let us know in the comment section. Just be polite and respectful. Thank you. So I'll start out with an observation that a heterosexual woman gave me about other heterosexual women doing gay things. And then I'll share with you what my lesbian perspective is about this heterosexual woman's perspective. This happened years ago. Like, I was probably in college and I was attending church. I was at church, and this woman who was a heterosexual woman who I went to church with, she didn't know I was a lesbian. And she was married to a man. She had about 3 children, I believe. And it was after church. You know how after church you meet and greet everybody, you just kind of mingle and talk and whatnot. That's what it was. It was like after church service ended, all the people were just standing around, just kind of talking and whatnot. Fellowshipping is what they say before you left and went home and had Sunday dinner. So we were kind of like in the auditorium area. You usually fellowship in the auditorium area if you're not in the or in the foyer area. So we were actually in the auditorium area where all the pews were. And me and this heterosexual woman we were standing there just kind of looking around, and we saw some women hugging, and they would end it with a kiss on the lips. Literally, like, I'm not exaggerating. They would hug each other and then they would kiss on the lips. Now, to be fair, there was no French kissing going on. It was just pecking on the lips. And these women were actually older than us. You know, I was probably in my early 20s. The heterosexual woman was probably like in her mid 20s because she was a little older than me. But these women, they were not in their 20s. They were like probably in their 50s or their 60s, to be honest with you. And we knew that these women were heterosexual women because some of them were married, or some of them, you know, gave the impression that they were heterosexual women. Because let's keep it real. I went to church my whole life, and I went to predominantly Black churches, and homosexuality was shunned in the Black churches. Like, nobody would claim to be gay or lesbian openly. You knew people were gay or lesbian in the church, but you didn't talk about it. But the only time gay was mentioned in the church is when the preacher was preaching a hell and fire and brimstone or Sodom and Gomorrah abomination story about all gays. That was the only time that gay was expressly talked about in the church. Of course, you had people who would, you always had the gossipers too, you know, the people who was talking about other folks behind their back. And you're in church, and you shouldn't be doing that anyway. And you should not be up there on the pulpit as a preacher preaching about gays going to hell either. But I digress. So me and this young lady were sitting here just observing. You know, we were chit-chatting, fellowshipping, but we're observing, you know how you're looking around. And every Sunday, without fail, I promise you, it was certain women, they would always hug and kiss, and they would not kiss on the cheek. You know how you kiss somebody on the cheek, or you may kiss them on, well, you don't kiss people on the forehead normally, but you normally would see somebody maybe kiss on the cheek, or they would kiss in the air. You know how you just, kiss up in the air, but you don't kiss the other person. That's like courtesy affection, open affection in public settings. But it was interesting. These women would literally kiss each other on the lips. And I remember the young lady who I was chit-chatting with, she just said to me, I don't understand that. And I acted like I didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, what happened? She said, did you see them kiss? And I said, oh yeah, I did. She said, I just don't get that. I don't understand how you can kiss another woman. Like, why are these women kissing each other? And I said, it's interesting. And they don't seem like they have an issue with kissing each other. I imagine they're just being friendly, kind of like an innocent peck on the lips, I imagine. And she said, yeah, but she said, but it's just gay. I don't understand why they would be kissing each other. Like, they're straight and they're doing it like publicly in the church. And besides that, I just think I just would not want to kiss another person who I'm not in a relationship with. Like, I mean, that's germs. Like, why would you want to kiss somebody else? You don't know what bacteria they have. And that's what the heterosexual woman was saying to me. And I have to agree with her on that last statement about the whole kissing other people. I'm not into just kissing people. I don't care how long we've been knowing each other. I'm a bit of a germaphobe. I don't believe in kissing people's lips either, because you don't know, honestly, where their mouth has been. But I agreed with her there, and I understood how she meant about, why are these women kissing each other? This is gay. She said that. Now, technically, yes, that would be considered something gay. Like, that's a gay behavior, because these women are heterosexual women. Like I say, they were older women than us. they had husbands, but them doing it openly, it just lets you know that they were very comfortable showing this public display of affection between women who identify as heterosexual women. So I did find that interesting, but what could I say? I know that these women, they come from a different time. They were about probably 30 plus years older than I was. And I found it interesting because we're in the church and, homophobia is real. You were not celebrated if you were gay or lesbian or LGBTQ plus. But yet there were heterosexual women who always would kiss each other in the church and nobody would, condemn them. I never remember the preacher standing up saying, "You women in the church kissing on each other, you need to stop in the name of Jesus. You're going to go to hell if you don't stop." I don't recall the preacher ever doing that. So the women continue to carry on this way. Now, do I think that that is gay behavior? Technically, yes, it is gay behavior. But at the same time, I know that women can be very affectionate. They can be very touchy-feely. And obviously these women felt good or free about showing affection to another woman by kissing her on the lips. And it was, to me, honestly, an innocent pet kiss. But I do admit that it is very strange that these women, now they're not related to each other. I'm not talking about a mother kissing her daughter on the lips. That's fine. But there's even some mothers who don't even kiss their daughters on the lips because they just don't think it's appropriate. We're talking about heterosexual women who are not blood related, and they're women who they identify as heterosexual. These women even had husbands in the church. I didn't ever see their husbands, saying, "Hey, you got to stop this right now," and whatnot. I don't know what happened after they left and went home. But this was continuous behavior that you saw in the church. All right, so that's the end of that scenario. Now I'll talk about a scenario with a actual heterosexual man. And I've actually been hearing this not just from a heterosexual man personally. I've heard it actually on social media too. And this is the scenario that this heterosexual man was telling me. He said, when you go out and you go party, at the club or whatever, he said, it don't even have to be a club. He said, because I'm really not into clubs, but I've seen this in the club setting. But he said, I went to a restaurant and it had like a DJ, it had a dance section. It was just kind of like people after they ate, they would just get up and go dancing, on the dance floor. And he said it was actually a nightlife event. He said it had the bar, it had like the dance floor, and then he said you could order food. And I know there's restaurants that are set up where you could see like live performers. So I knew what he was talking about, that kind of setting. So he was in that kind of setting, and he said, I was just by myself on this particular night, and I was checking out the women. And he noticed that the women were on the dance floor and they were dancing. But he said it was odd to him because he said none of the women were dancing with men. They were dancing with women. And he said, I just don't understand that. He said, why would women go to an event or go out, in public and they dance with other women? Like they just be huddled up dancing with each other up close. And he said it just looks like they're lesbian. He said, are they lesbian? I can't tell if they're lesbian or if they're straight. I don't get it, because they never interact with men. And then he said it goes as far as I've seen women do very sensual dances on the dance floor where women are backed up on each other and they're rubbing each other's very private areas. And he said, but these women, they're confusing me. He said, I'm sitting here, I think she's pretty, and I wait till she eventually leaves the dance floor and she gets off to herself. He said, because he says as a heterosexual man, he doesn't like to approach heterosexual women who are all bunched up together with other women, because he said they start acting real, kind of arrogant, and even he says sometimes they're very rude, like they keep each other from meeting men. And he said, I don't understand that about heterosexual women. He said, if you're out, why are you out with a bunch of girls, and then when a guy approaches you, your friend girls, they tell you, oh no, don't talk to him. He said he's experienced that. Now, this is me talking. This man was not an ugly man. He's a physically attractive heterosexual man. And I don't know exactly what these heterosexual women find attractive about men. Every woman has their own type of man. But I will just say about this particular man, he didn't have problems getting women, but he said it's harder and harder to meet a woman, a heterosexual woman, because he says they're always in groups. When you approach them, it's like going through fire because they're girlfriends. And he said they call each other girlfriends. He said, I don't get that. He said, I wonder if they're really just girlfriends, like being lesbians, or if they're saying that they're just really girlfriends, meaning this just is a girl and she's my friend. He said that throws him off as well. And he says, oh, my girlfriend, I'm just here with my girlfriend. He said they'll say stuff like that when he says, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Would you like to dance? The girls will say, oh no, I'm just here with my girlfriends tonight. And then he said he's even experienced where a girl wanted to dance. He could tell she was interested in him, but one of her friend girls would intrude and say, oh girl, I know you're not going to go with him. I know you're not about to go and give your number to him. And he says, then the girl, just acts all of a sudden like she's no longer interested in him. So he said, I'm just so confused. And he said, it doesn't make any sense. He said, I don't know if these women are straight. I don't know if they're gay. He said, but it's a problem. So he expressed that to me. And I've actually, heard this, from other heterosexual men, and it's kind of an issue for them. So for me as a lesbian woman, I know that for me, I don't have to worry about confusing a man because I'm not into that. I will let a man know that I'm a lesbian. So he's going to know. And the only way he's going to know is if he's actually pursuing me, and he's pursuing me hard, right? But at the same time, I might be at a lesbian club or a lesbian event. So I don't have to worry about confusing men there because, well, you're at a lesbian social setting. So really, there should not be any heterosexual men there. But if there was one there, well, then he should not be confused because he basically is aware that he's at a lesbian social event. Now, I'm not a club person. I don't do clubs, but I may go to a lounge. I may go to some type of restaurant / venue event where people are performing, such as music or whatnot. That's fine. But I don't do clubs at all. But I just basically let him know that I could see why you would be confused, because there are heterosexual women who go in groups at clubs or social settings, and they do something that's a bit strange. They will stay around other women in a group, but they constantly are looking at men. They're giving men attention, which, for example, is like eye contact. Or you may be flirting with men. So, of course, the man, if he's interested in you, if he's attracted to you, he's going to come over and say hi. But if you reject him, then what's the point of you flirting with this man? What's the point of you giving this man eye contact and then rejecting him? I agree that's not right. And it makes sense why this man would be confused. He doesn't know if you're gay or straight. And heterosexual women who do that, that definitely is a red flag for a heterosexual man, because you're not being upfront, you're not being clear, and you're playing mind games. And that's probably why you're still single as a heterosexual woman. As a lesbian woman, like I said, I don't give any signals, cues to a man that I want him because I'm a lesbian. So I'm not going to give him no eye contact. I'm not going to be flirting with him. I'm more than likely not going to be in a social setting where I'm trying to attract a man. So I will say that that is a scenario which this heterosexual man explained to me. I will confirm that that is a situation when a straight woman is doing gay things. I agree. But when heterosexual women, straight women, are doing gay things, many times their intention is completely oblivious to the fact that they're acting gay. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes heterosexual women are not really consciously aware. They're not self-aware of what behavior that they're participating in, how it affects people on the outside who are observing them. Like I mentioned, the heterosexual woman at the church, we're sitting up here observing these heterosexual women kiss each other in church. Like, the woman could think, is she straight? Is she gay? I don't know. This is confusing. And then the heterosexual man out at the lounge, seeing a beautiful woman dancing on the dance floor, but she's dancing all up on another woman, but she's giving him eye contact. So when she gets off to herself, he goes up to her and says hi because she was giving him eye contact. But then all of a sudden she rejects him because her girlfriends are around. What you're doing, people are observing you as heterosexual women, but you're giving off confusing, conflicting behavior, which people are interpreting as gay things or gay behavior. So I would recommend that heterosexual women be more mindful of how they're behaving out in public, especially if you're a heterosexual woman and you're single and you want to be married to a man. You don't need to give off any indication that you are a female homosexual. But that's just my lesbian perspective. And that's all I have for now. I appreciate you for listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I appreciate my existing subscribers. And I look forward to seeing you or having you listen to another video soon. Thank you.